everybody. Happy Friday and welcome to the Fanatic Forum. I am your Fanatic and host, George Bueller. We got a good one for you today here, folks. We have got another installment of the Artist Alley here. So we're going to be introducing you guys to Volt Comics' Jeff Beineke here in just a little bit. And of course, we'll talk about all kinds of other geek stuff too as well here. Unfortunately, Seth is not going to be with us tonight. He's just a little under the weather, a little, late season cold, all that kind of jazz here. So he's got the night off tonight here. But anyway, so he will be back next week. So anywho, so hope you guys are having a good weekend out there and a good week so far. So we got all kinds of fun stuff to talk about. Of course, plenty of comic things here and a few other things. But I got to bring on my guest here real quick here just to get him on here. So, of course, the purveyor of the comic book, the Crag, bring on here my buddy Jeff Beineke here. Good to see you, sir.
I'm sorry, I had my thing muted. I'm very happy to be here. Sorry about that. Great start so far.
Oh, awesome. Good to have you, man. So, if you guys didn't know, Jeff and I met each other a couple of years ago during the Multiverse fundraiser. I was hosting a panel on indie comic creators, and Jeff was a part of that panel there for his comic, The Crags. That's where we initially met there. So, yeah, old buddies here. So, and of course, I love to promote indie artists and basically folks trying to just make that paper by literally making paper. And so, yeah, good to have Jeff on here, man.
Yep, that's the goal. Well, The Crag is still around. It's been slow going, but I released issue number 2. Issue number 3 is in the works, script and artwork. So I'm just trying to, keep him going. He's ancient. It doesn't take place in our world. It's kind of a similar world, but he's an ancient figure that kind of just dropped into the shadows, got kind of disgusted with humanity and society, even though he was created to protect it. But so things start going downhill in the current world, and then the leaders of the town that it takes place in, they try to seek him out and recruit him to help bring him out of retirement, so to say. So that's kind of what we're aiming for.
Nice, yeah. And of course, this world is seeing a lot of crime, a lot of a lot of discord or whatever else going on. And despite their efforts, because you have some good people that are trying to keep the city, clean and keep things running everywhere else. But yeah, it's like they need some further help here. So yes, we're gonna. So yes, we will definitely talk about the Crag and show some art from that here in just a moment. And of course, we got to get the origin story of how you got started on that, and a lot of your geek stuff as well here. But
sounds good.
Got a couple of comments here. Mary Ann, good to see you. Hello to you too. And she's saying hello to you too, Jeff.
Hi there.
Oh, I see a tail one of your fur babies in there.
That was Kyrie. She's the curious one that tries to get into everything. So,
what's her name?
Her name's Kyrie, like the character from Kingdom Hearts. So, my wife loves Kingdom Hearts. So,
there you go. See, I said nice geek family there. We've got 3 ourselves, and their names are Carol Ann, which is our Void girl here, and she's of course named after the girl from Poltergeist. That was my wife's insistence. And then the other 2, we've got Pepper, as in Pepper Potts. And I will tell you, she takes that job very seriously. She is my executive assistant. She is in charge of the house.
Yeah. That's kind of like our Kyrie. She runs everything, even though she tries to pretend like she doesn't. So.
And then our third one is Iris, as in Iris West Allen, named after the wife of the Flash. But when we adopted her from the family, the little girl said, "Oh, well, she's really fast like the Flash." Like, yeah, I said, but the Flash is a boy, and Iris is his wife, who has also been a speedster from time to time. So she is Iris. But
we've also got Riku, Leon, and then Xehanort, the villain from Kingdom Hearts. My wife wanted to name him Xehanort, so usually Zaya for short. But so those are our 4 babies.
Oh, wonderful! And we have a fish too. We have a beta. We have a beta. His name's Clark Griswold. So there you go. So so he's the newest to our family. We got him. Actually, we saved him, I should say, in December. My wife went to a Christmas party, and they were doing like a white elephant pass around gift, and literally someone brought a damn live animal.
That's not.
And so my wife's like, Well, it's like, no, we're taking the fish.
Yeah, bless you guys for saving him, or her or him. I assume
He's him. Yeah,
it's a him. Yeah, Clark Griswold.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need more people to help out the animals like that. So
It's like, who buys a live animal for a it's like, so anyway,
that's not a great idea.
So we got him a nice little tank. Betas are notoriously kind of loners, so he is happy as a lark by himself. He's got some plants. He's not much of a hider, so he likes hanging out in the open and swimming around his plants. So he's got his plants. He's making bubble nests. He's a happy boy. So we're good.
And the cats probably love to watch him too. Just keep an eye on him.
Carol, well, the tank is pretty secure, so they don't mess with him. The Pepper and Iris don't care. Carol Ann's the one that loves him. She she appreciates the peacefulness of watching a fish swim. So she'll hang out by his tank and just sit there and watch him. Or she also, because he's in the kitchen, and so she also likes to sleep on top of the fridge, and so she'll be on top of the fridge and basically watch him from up there too. So they're buddies. Yeah. So we have a question for or a comment from Marianne, and actually very timely, nice segue here. So thank you, Marianne. Off topic, what do we think about Loki and Thor coming back? So obviously she's referring to the Avengers Doomsday production has begun video we saw with the 27 chairs for our stars.
27, yeah. That's a lot of chairs. I gotta be honest and say I have not kept up with the MCU like I probably should have. So
well, what they're doing is basically, of course, we were leading to Kang being a big villain, and then troubles with real life with Jonathan Majors has caused a swerve of that somewhat. So we don't know what the Kang situation is going to be, definitely. We haven't seen it in the MCU or on film just yet. But the big news from last year's Comic-Con is that we have cast our Doctor Doom in the MCU.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it is Robert Downey Jr. I'm very excited about that. A lot of people are on the fence, but I'm like, look, guys, picture it this way. Tony Stark came into our universe and built the MCU. Now, Victor Von Doom will come in to destroy the MCU and rebuild it in his own image. What more Doom could you possibly be in that way?
Yeah, I like the way you put that, because I've always been on the fence about that, but the way you just put that kind of sold me a little bit. That's
and it's the same actor.
Yeah,
it's like the actor who built it will be the actor who destroys it and then rebuilds it. Like,
yeah, I didn't go that deep with it, but yeah, I think you're onto something. That sounds actually pretty intriguing. So
yeah,
I love anything Doctor Doom. So I'll probably catch myself seeing that one anyway. So
yeah, well, the video's online. Basically Marvel's social media, YouTube, everywhere. But it literally goes down the line and shows all the actors who were in the film. There's a couple of notable exceptions, like there's no Deadpool, there's no Wolverine, and there's no Spider-Man. So, but then again, we're talking about Doomsday. This is part 1. Part 2 is Secret War. So, I guess maybe we're not going to throw the entire kitchen sink out, but a lot of returning things, like, of course, like as Marianne pointed out, Thor and Loki, Namor's coming back. We're seeing a lot of our Black Panther characters, a lot of our existing Avengers that are out, new and old. But the big surprises are Kelsey Grammer returning as the Beast.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, because, of course, Kelsey Grammer has already come back once in the second Captain Marvel film, The Marvels. The cutscene in there, we saw Monica Rambeau being trapped in an alternate universe. She is rescued by her mother, who actually took the Captain Marvel mantle in this other universe. And standing beside her is Kelsey Grammer as the Beast. And his CG, it wasn't in makeup, he was in CG, and he looked beautiful.
I thought he did a good job in his first portrayal. So
he did. He absolutely did. The makeup, some people have criticized a little bit, which I don't care. I love practical effects, so whatever. The performance, I thought, overshadowed the makeup. So there you go. But there's a couple other X-Men, like James Marsden's coming back as Cyclops. Rebecca Romijn is coming back as Mystique.
I thought she had retired.
No, I guess not.
Maybe I was missed. Maybe I was wrong.
Well, I mean, we're pulling out a lot of stops for this one, and imagine what they're going to have for Secret Wars.
Yeah, wow.
Because we're talking about the Russo brothers. They're doing both movies. We know we've got like Infinity War and Endgame are the tent pole for the MCU. Like this is the peak MCU, and we're trying to get back there again. I think we're helping with the recent Captain America film. Daredevil's been really solid so far, so we're seeing a lot of good things coming up here. But yeah, Ian McKellen coming back as Magneto. Patrick Stewart coming back as
I'm getting more intrigued as you go.
Patrick Stewart coming back as Professor Xavier. But the thing we didn't know we needed in 2025, the bit that heals us, the bit that writes the universe, Alan Cumming is returning as Nightcrawler.
Wow, that is impressive that they got everybody to sign on.
But Alan Cumming is coming back as Nightcrawler. I mean, people are freaking out because
they are in a good way.
In a good way, yes, because he is such a beloved piece of the X-Men movie lore, and we got him in one movie. We got Cody Smith McPhee, who did Nightcrawler in a couple of like the younger X-Men films, and the later ones. But we got Alan in number 2, and that was it.
Yeah, I remember he was really good in it. So
he was outstanding. Yeah, he was one of the best things of the film. So, and it's always been a highlight of the X-Men film. So to have him returning, yes, the universe is starting to write itself. This is a good thing. So
yeah, I know a lot of people kind of think MCU. Well, I admit I'm kind of one of them that kind of got away from, off the rails, so to say. But yeah, I'm going to check out some of the new stuff. You sold me already, so Marvel should hire you as a spokesman.
I think that Kevin Feige. I will take my paycheck now. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Nate 2099. Good to see you, sir.
Hey.
Hello. One thing I've got to share with you guys here before we get onto new comics here. So I got on a string of like watching a bunch of new movies past couple of days, and one thing I love like getting into deep cuts with movies or finding like the quote unquote lost movies, stuff like that. And we had a recent lost movie that finally came out like the last couple of months. This is currently streaming on Shudder. But this is 2004's The Birthday, starring Corey Feldman. Now, some people in 2025 would say, a Corey Feldman movie, I don't know. But this movie was shot in 2004. It is a Spanish film. Corey's the only known actor in the movie, though there are a couple of character actors folks may recognize in the movie. But Corey's really the only quote-unquote star. The film takes place in a hotel in 1987 for a family birthday get-together for a very wealthy family. So Corey is the boyfriend of the daughter of this family. He's being introduced to the family, whatever else. Corey's performance is inspired. He plays this very like nerdy, nervous, kind of like very twitchy guy with a very thick Brooklyn accent. He's always kind of messing with his hands. A very sweet girl. Look at her. So
he's trying to get involved.
That is perfectly fine. We love our fur babies. But yeah, he's a very nervous, kind of twitchy kind of guy. But like I said, it's a great performance. He keeps up through the whole movie. But as things go on, stuff starts getting weird. And I don't want to give away too terribly much because there's some stuff that kind of comes out of nowhere in a good way. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. But this is a very entertaining, very inventive movie. They use the space really well. It's got great art direction. And basically what happened to this film is that it just never found distribution. The Birthday tried very hard to kind of push this movie. It found a lot of champions like Quentin Tarantino, Jordan Peele, Guillermo del Toro. They've like hosted screenings of this film multiple times over the last 20 years because of how much they enjoy the film. But then finally, it's got some distribution. It got released on Shudder now, so it's streaming currently on there. So yeah. again, if you like like I said, there is a little bit of gore, but not much. It's mostly a great, creepy, atmospheric kind of movie. But in my opinion, this should have been like a comeback for Corey, because his performance is outstanding. And because this movie was lost to time, and then of course he started doing his music and kind of getting weird with that.
Yeah.
That's kind of overshadowed his career, and we've seen a lot more kind of funny memes or funny videos, stuff like that. But it's like this could have been like the comeback movie for him for like movie stuff. So
wow.
it's kind of like it's kind of a what if sort of thing. Now, of course, now that it's out, maybe once it kind of grows an audience, maybe people will show it a little love, and maybe I don't know. But
yeah, you never know. Hopefully I've seen some of the music stuff, like the funny videos people share. It is what it is, I guess. But yeah, hopefully it can, if this movie gets some eyes on it, it can maybe give him some more acting work or something. But not to say that, he shouldn't be doing music if that's what he loves, but it is what it is. So
yeah, to keep it very nice. Yeah, it has a specific audience. Don't know if they actually enjoy it or if we're all just making fun of it together.
Yeah, that's the kind of the line. You don't know if it's laughing with him or at him or what's going on there. But
yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's just, again, this movie really shows he's still got the chops. So yeah, like I said, The Birthday is currently streaming on Shudder. Definitely should check it out here. There's Batman Ultra. Good to see you, sir. Oh. All right, so we got a couple of new comic book reviews here we're going to get to, and then, of course, we're going to talk all about Jeff's comic, The Crag, here. So I've only got one Marvel book to talk about this week. So, but Marvel and DC decided that they were going to have the largest weeks of the year as the number of releases they were going to have, and it was going to be on the same week.
Oh, wow, that's a great idea.
Yeah, so my pull list was about 25 books.
Wow.
So yeah,
quite the pull list.
Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, but I've only got one Marvel book I really want to talk about here. The crossover we have been waiting for: Godzilla versus the Fantastic Four. This kicks off I think it's going to be a 6-issue miniseries of basically Godzilla versus the Marvel Universe, and it takes place in different time periods. So with this one taking place in the 1960s, Fantastic Four, we're still seeing a very young, a very green, a very chipper, team there. The dialogue is even kind of stylized for it, even though this is done by Ryan North, who is currently writing the current run of Fantastic Four. But yeah, it's so much fun in its throwbackness, and if that's even a word. But the fun thing is that about halfway through the book here, you're like, okay, this is kind of, we're kind of having fun with this, but where's this kind of going to go from here? We get a couple of new cast members introduced, and oh my God, this book goes to 11 after that, and like, holy, so. Yeah, you think it's going to go one way, and we get a couple of new things going here, and then we get some great moments. So we're going to see some future crossovers. We're going versus the Hulk is the next volume, which I think takes place in the 70s. We've got a Spider-Man one, which is in the 80s. X-Men in the 90s. And then the Avengers in the 2000s, which is like it's the Brian Michael Bendis era. So basically, we're going to have like Sentry, Spider-Man, Wolverine on that team. So Sentry versus Godzilla, yes,
that sounds pretty cool.
And I think there's also a Thor one as well. So I'm not sure if the Thor one takes place, maybe much later in the future or something like that, or I don't know. But yeah, basically, this is definitely Godzilla's big year for comics because there's a whole bunch of about 3 different series going on over at IDW. We've got, of course, the Marvel Universe crossovers. And then later this summer, we're going to see a second volume of Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. So
wow, double dipping with DC too.
Dude, he's triple dipping. He's going Indies, Marvel, DC.
Oh, wow, man, who would have thought in 2025 Godzilla would be so huge?
King of the Monsters, baby. I tell you what, man, Godzilla -1 did so much good for the brand and has given him a second life and just reinvigorated fans. Even casual fans like myself. I mean, -1's a masterpiece.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen it in the color version. I've seen it in the black and white version, and I only watch it in the Japanese. No dubs for me, thank you very much. The actors' performances are so good. I don't want to cheat them by listening to a dubbed performance. I'll read some subtitles. I don't care.
Yep, subtitles never hurt anybody. So
Yes,
watching in its
sir.
natural format. So.
Yes, sir. And Batman Ultra saying that he loves seeing Godzilla in comics again, versus comics again. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of that this year. Yes, yeah. Ryan North is doing the Fantastic Four one. I think we're going to get different writers on different volumes. So I know Jerry Duggan is doing the Hulk one. I'm not sure about who's doing the rest so far from there. So, and yeah, it is like a journey through the decades. So, like I said, I'm curious where the Thor one is going to be. I haven't seen the I've seen the cover solicitation for it, but I haven't seen like what era it takes place in. So
maybe future. I don't know what they're cooking up.
I mean, they very well could be, because we've seen all kinds of future Thor at the end of the world, sort of thing like that. So yeah. So let's see here. Oh, and Batman Ultra saying that the -1 dub is awful.
I can imagine with some of the dubbing companies out there. It's
yeah. Oh, dude, that would be great if we could have a Simonson Thor for the verses. That would be great. Yeah. Let's see here. A couple of DC books to talk about here. Actually, I've got a trio here to talk about. So first and foremost here, the running joke here on the Fanatic Forum is that we're going to talk about at least one Batman book a week because A, I'm a big Batman fan, and B, Batman has like 47 books that come out a month, right?
yeah, and Wolverine, they're in the running for most, like, yeah, they're everywhere, but I like them both, so.
Yeah, they are plentiful. But this is a big one this week here because Batman number 158 of the regular continuity book. But this is the first chapter of Hush 2, the long-awaited sequel to the Jim Lee, Jeff Loeb event series. And this is The Masters Are Back. As you can see, Jim Lee does this beautiful cover here. There's, I think, like about 14 or 15 variant covers for this book.
Wow.
This week. So, yeah. And yeah, there's a lot. They're all pretty awesome. Like Jim Lee does a bunch of them. J. Scott Campbell, Dan Mora, Sean Gordon Murphy, Lee Bermejo. So it's
wow. It's a lot. There's a lot of talented artists. So
yeah, it's a who's who, definitely. But yeah, this is definitely starting off to a very surprising start. Now this does affect the regular continuity of the book, but we may very well have seen the end, or at least a very somewhat permanent demise of a tentpole Batman villain in the first chapter of Hush 2. So I don't want to say who, but yeah, there's a big setup in this, and when it happens, like, oh, what did I just see here? So now the interesting thing about this Hush sequel is that we're going to get the first 6 chapters this year, and then there's going to be a break, and we get a new number 1. But with this new number 1, there's a new suit. And the new suit kind of looks a little like if you merged a Nightwing suit with a Batman suit. So possibly something big happens within the first 6 issues of Hush. We have to take a break. And then in 2026, the other 6 issues will come out. But I'm like, is Dick Grayson going back in the bat suit one more time?
So they have shown the new suit. I need to. It's like I was telling you off before we came on. I'm a little out of touch with the modern comics scene, so I'm going to look that up while you're talking about the comics.
DC has released the suit. It looks very much like a merger of Nightwing. Like the last time we saw Dick Grayson was when Bruce was dead, and then it was the Black Mirror storyline. It's like, are we going to get like a teaming up of Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne again? It's like
that'd be pretty cool.
I was like, I loved it the first time around, so it was awesome. And speaking of awesome here, we had 2 Absolute books released this weekend. You guys have known on the Fanatic Forum, I've been loving the Absolute run here. So this is Wonder Woman number 6. This starts a brand new storyline. And of course, for those not familiar, the Absolute run for DC is kind of very similar to like the Ultimate run for Marvel. It's an alternate universe. Things are different. The mythology has changed. Characters have changed. Lots of stuff like this. So the big caveat with Absolute Wonder Woman, there is no Themyscira. She is the only Amazon, and she was raised in hell by one of her greatest villains, Circe. And Circe is essentially her mother. But the interesting thing is that despite these circumstances, Diana perseveres and the hero is still there. So this Diana uses a lot more magic, a lot more weaponry than traditional Wonder Woman does, but she is still Diana. But essentially, if you love women wielding giant weapons facing giant kaiju, read this book because it's outstanding. Yeah. Of the Absolute series, like Batman's my favorite. Wonder Woman's definitely a close second. I mean, taking nothing against Absolute Superman. It's also a very good book as well. But Wonder Woman is so freaking fun.
I've noticed that with comics, artwork, every writing, just have fun. That's the main key. Just a fun book. That's kind of what you look for. So
yeah, and you got Kelly Thompson writing her too. So, and Kelly's a very storied writer. So yeah, that's good stuff here. One book I've definitely really been, because there's like the first run of the Absolute books was getting the DC Trinity, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. The next volume is Flash, Martian Manhunter, Green Lantern. So Flash came out a week ago, and we're dealing with Wally West, not Barry Allen. There is no Speed Force, and there's Jeff Lemire's writing this. So Jeff really likes to get into a lot of like mystery and kind of different stories, things like that. So I'm very intrigued by what's going on. But my theory is that Wally is not actually running fast. He's actually time traveling in a more specific, like it's just a personal. He's moving, back and forth between the timelines, but he can't control it. So basically, he's losing time. He doesn't know when or where he is. So we're dealing with a lot of that. So that was a very intriguing beginning. So we'll see with that one. But the one I was really waiting for, because the premise and the art was so interesting, is Absolute Martian Manhunter. So we've got Dennis Camp is the writer on this one, and Javier Rodriguez does the cover art and the main art in the book here. The premise on this one is that you've got John Jones, is a federal investigator with the FBI. He was recently in a case where he was injured, and basically now that he's recovered from said injury and trying to get back to work, he's having some strange side effects. He's starting to hear people's thoughts, starting to see things that maybe not be there, hear voices of whatever else. And essentially what is happening is that he is being possessed and possibly taken over by a Martian presence and becoming like one in the same sort of thing. But the art is very psychedelic, very wild, but this is so good. So it's kind of like, the guy's like, what is going on? Am I going crazy? Something like it's a little bit of a mystery going on, very psychedelic. The art is cool. The last page, it's a very old school gimmick, because you got one image printed on one side of the page, one image printed on the other. And if you hold up the light, the images merge. That's the last page of the book. And it's like, it's like the oldest trick in the book, but it's like, thank you for doing that. That was great.
Am I going crazy? Relatable for everybody almost.
Almost, yeah. So yeah, Absolute Martian Manhunter gets my highest recommendation. Definitely check that one out. I've never been a regular Martian Manhunter or even a regular Wonder Woman fan, but it's like, man, these Absolute books are going to be too good here. Wrapping things up, a couple of indie books here. G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, issue 315. So we talked about last issue a couple of weeks ago. 314 was kind of like our bit of our palate cleanser, a special missions one shot, because we just recently had a big war on Cobra Island between the forces of G.I. Joe, between the forces of Cobra Commander running Cobra, and then a slightly mutated cyborg group of Cobra soldiers who were loyal to this new version of Serpentor, who was, instead of being a multitude of world leaders, DNA mixed into one body to make one great leader. They just said, you know what, we're just going to pick one leader and make him that. And so they picked Genghis Khan.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and so in the
Go
process
on.
of, yeah, exactly, yeah. But in the process of making Genghis Khan, they also updated him on modern day technology and modern day combat weaponry, fighting styles. So basically, by the time he came out of the pressure cooker, he was ready to go. And so proving a very big foil. Well, as the war escalates and whatever else, in the last issue, issue 313 of G.I. Joe, we get a knockdown, drag-out fight of Destro versus Cobra Commander. And as you can see, things weren't going too well for the Commander because he is in chains in this issue here. So this is our first issue dealing with the fallout of how things are going, kind of the new status quo of the relationship between Mars Industries and Cobra, and setting things up for our next storylines. But of course, we got the master Larry Hama still running the show on this one here. But yeah, G.I. Joe, between the regular continuity stuff and the Energon universe stuff that Josh Williamson's doing with the Transformers Void Rivals, G.I. Joe fans are in a really nice place right now. That's for sure. Last pick here. This is a one-shot from Oni Press called Free for All. And this is done by Patrick Horvath, who did Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, which was kind of like if you merge the Richard Scarry's Little People, with the animals dressed up like humans doing human things, and Dexter, the serial killer series. Yeah. So cute animal people running around, but one of them was a serial killer. Yeah, so that's it. So Free for All, on the other hand, like I said, this is a one-shot, so it's an entirely self-contained story and a single issue here. In the future, we have this thing called the World Monetary Fund, which basically controls all money. It flows in and out of it, kind of running everything else here. Very apropos today. In this said future, all the billionaires and super millionaires and whatever else, basically, if you don't contribute some of your yearly earnings to the World Monetary Fund, you are essentially thrown into gladiatorial combat. And if you win, you get to keep your money. You don't have to donate anything. You're good. But if you lose, i.e. die, then all your money and estate and everything goes to the World Monetary Fund. So we start off the book with basically a guy who's newly been charged with making a lot of money and not donating it and don't spread it out to people, that sort of thing like that. And so he has to go into with the world champion, and essentially the world champion is like if Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or Bill the Microsoft guy. Anyway, Bill Gates, thank you. Yeah, Bill Gates basically became like really good at hand-to-hand gladiatorial combat and kept his money every single year. Like he was the world champion. And so you got new guy comes in, but then we have another contestant comes in, and it's the champion's ex-wife. And they had a business partnership at one point, and that partnership ended very poorly. So the ex is looking for revenge. So it's a very interesting, a lot of gore, a lot of fighting in that respect, but it's also kind of just an interesting, essay on kind of like, is there a justified violence to like, okay, we're all, PO'd at, all the people, the haves and have-nots, so to speak. All the people who, would like to have that kind of money, we hate those guys. Well, is it still justified that if they don't give us some of their money, we're just going to watch them be murdered on worldwide television for our pleasure? Or is there some kind of justification for this? And, are we better off? So there's a lot of questions this book asks amongst all the violence.
Just without going into depth, but
no, as I say, it's like we're not too far away from this. Yeah. So there's your new comic book picks for the week there, folks. So yeah, some interesting stuff there for sure. But speaking of comic books, we got to talk to our guest of the night here. And let me get the share screen thing going here. We'll show some of your work here. So we definitely got to talk about the Crag, this is your creator-owned book here from Volt Comics that you write. Who is the artist for the Crag here?
It is Janine Janae Keith. I hope I'm saying
Okay.
her name right. I asked her for pronunciation, but yep. So she's done the first 2 issues of the Crag. She's going to do the third, but we met on a Facebook group and just kind of exchanged ideas and went from there.
That's
With
awesome.
as far as working together. So
Okay. So have you all ever like met in person, or is it just entirely just been an
Mhm.
online relationship?
Totally online. She lives out in Southern California, and I'm in Indiana, so quite a ways away.
Crazy. Wow.
But yeah, the
And that,
beauties of technology.
it really is. I mean, because we had Prodigy Comics on here about a month or so ago, and of course, one of the writers for Prodigy Comics, a good friend of mine, lives in Kentucky, and then his artist lives in Ohio, and some of the other artists and writers they live in different parts of the country. So I don't know if any of these people have met each other in person, but it's been an entirely online relationship.
Yeah,
That's really where we are in comics.
it's it'd be nice to meet them. I would like to meet everybody I've worked with someday, but like for example, another book I'm working on is the artist is in the Philippines. So yeah, it's just
Wow.
crazy how, but it's a good thing for independent creators. So
It really is. It gives you all kinds of opportunities that you may not have had before, or working with people that you wouldn't have come
mhm.
across,
Yep.
before.
I don't
So
think it would, like if we didn't have the social media aspect, it would, how would you find your artists if you live in a small rural town and there's nobody that does artwork like that? Then you're kind of, up the creek without a paddle. But yeah, very lucky, and he's helped me a lot with just learning about, the indie comics business itself, and just little stuff like formatting, pages and images. So yeah, very very blessed to be working with her.
absolutely here. So, and Batman Ultra saying it's cool that people can connect far and wide to make some good comics. And of course, a little joke. He wouldn't know anything about Project Comics. Yes, Batman Ultra is the writer I was mentioning. That's a good friend of mine.
That's what I kind of assumed after he said that.
And then, yeah, basically saying he really digs the art in this book here. So,
Oh, I'll let her
tell
know.
us, tell us about kind of how the Crag, how you came up with the idea, how this was created, and led us to this point here in the first issue.
Okay, well, I think that he was. This has been going on so long; it's kind of hard to remember the exact genesis. But I remember creating him when I was in high school. He was known as the Brick back then, from what I recall. Just kind of a generic stone golem character.
Hmm.
And then I kind of, as I grew older and matured a little bit with writing and stuff, I also got into cryptozoologies, and that kind of led me to jungles and forests and things that kind of maybe some people see him, they might not believe he exists since he's kind of retired. So that's kind of
Hmm.
where that kind of went from there. But so yeah, just kind of merged a couple ideas together, and I originally was going to have him be like resuscitated from being underground or something. I can't even remember exactly, but kind of the fish out of water tail. But I just thought it would be a better idea to just have him know what's going on in society, but kind of just distanced himself from it.
Right. Yeah.
So you can kind of touch on it more. So that's kind of where I went with that. And then it's just kind of, the, the world's in such a crazy place with, there's a little bit of political stuff in it. I don't want to, you don't ever want to get too political sometimes, but yeah, so there's political intrigue, it's kind of the town of Baton which is where it takes place, has been, long story short, I don't want to spoil too much, but politics has kind of left this town high and dry, and they're kind of left to their own devices to fend for themselves. So that's kind of where the Crag comes in, where they kind of want to go out, seek him out, recruit him because they need the help. There's only a couple officers, and everything's going to heck basically. So
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, the gentleman of the white streak and the Native American guy. So, yeah, those are our two officers there. So these are basically our good guys in the group here, the two good guys in
yep.
government who are trying to do something, to help out Baton because, yeah, again, a lot of crime, a lot of turmoil, basically just essentially getting shafted by the larger governments of the
Yep.
world. So, yeah, so they
Like
literally turn.
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh,
talk over you there. It's
no,
they're part of a like a loose union of nations. I didn't get too far into depth of that, but basically they're each city state has a representative, obviously, and then they go to the union, and then I haven't got too far into it yet, but they kind of embezzle the funds, don't spend what they should or where they should. So it's just kind of a, very topical. Some people would
Sure,
agree
yeah.
with. I think so.
Yeah, but basically, of course, in their desperation, they essentially, you basically go into the jungle searching for this legendary creature that the commanding officer, the guy with the white streak in his hair, there believes exists. The Native American guy does not believe he exists.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting thing you did too, because you basically made the Native American character like not you took out all the stereotypes. Like he is not in tune with nature. He's like smoking and dropping cigarette butts in the jungle, and like his buddy's like, dude, we are meeting a natural golem, and you are literally littering in his home. What are you, kind of stuff like so? And of course, that bites him in the butt, here too. So yeah, so you're seeing like you kind of really taking out a lot of the stereotypes of a Native American character and just kind of making them like, I don't really care.
Yeah, just one of the boys. I'm not trying to, push any, how it goes. It's just trying to make him he's just a different character. I mean, he's not,
Yeah, exactly. But then I like how you're designed for the Crag here too, because he's, like many golems, whatever you were created for or created of, you were of that thing. So you can see like, there's some vines, there's some earth, there's some mushrooms and vegetation and little creatures crawling all over him. So yeah, he's definitely
been, he's been out in hiding for quite a while. Definitely, further, the idea I went with is the further he's away from society, the more in touch he becomes with nature and just the environment. So
yeah, I love this thing here. He's holding up this tiny lizard here. It's like, this fellow here has more integrity and honor with him than your average citizen anymore.
Yeah, that's the way it is, unfortunately, in some cases. So
yeah, and of course we get like in this issue we get a little bit of flashbacks here as well. So that's the thing too, is like we jump right into the modern day, and so we're kind of seeing like little pieces of the Crag story and his backstory and where he's come from, but we're not getting everything just yet. And you don't waste a lot of time either. We're getting right into action in this issue as well. So
yeah, I kind of what I really struggled with, I had these ideas for probably 10 years before I really started taking writing seriously. And I remember the first script that I wrote for the Crag was like almost all flashback. And then I realized, you can't do that. You got to mix and match everything to find that perfect synthesis, really, of flashback, origin, then action, world building. So yeah, that was really the hardest thing, is just trying to figure out what I wanted to leave out, add in, not too much origin, leave stuff to keep you interested, to keep coming back. So
yeah. And I think you do a very economical job here. And I mean, you got 28 pages in this first issue here, and so you're welcome. Yeah, we get your couple of main characters here. With your supporting characters, essentially, you have the Crag. We've got some villains that are introduced, kind of some low level gangster kind of stuff here.
Yeah.
Leave us on a nice cliffhanger too. It's like the Crag going to crush this guy's head, and he probably should. And of course, you get some nice, bios as well for some of our main characters, concept art.
So. Yeah, I specifically did the just kind of, thugs and grunts for the first issue, just to kind of get the reader used to the main characters. And then in the second issue, I introduced the main, well, not his main arch nemesis, so to say, but just a super villain, however you want to put it, kind of a supernatural villain. So yeah, just the first issue was looking back. I don't know how I did. I just kind of, like I said, just a lot of different ideas, and it came out how it came out. I hope everybody likes it. But yeah, it was hard to mix and match everything, and that's the first full comic that I ever published. So I'm pretty much self-taught, and I'm just kind of learned on the fly with that one. So
I mean, honestly, I've had more than a couple of friends who've basically done the exact same you have. Like they basically they looked up online how to make a comic book, sort of thing like that. Get the format down, how to do it online, things like that. Fortunately, in their case, the artist and writer were they lived in the same city, so they had regular contact. But they didn't have the challenge of basically communicating remotely or whatever else that you have, which again, in 2025, 2024, where else, that works out just fine. But still, like, there's a difference that you haven't physically had a in-person meeting with your artist, whatnot. So there's something there, sure. Oh,
Yeah,
we got
it
a
was.
couple of.
Oh,
Sorry. Go
sorry.
ahead.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm
No,
sorry. I'm
no,
sorry.
go ahead.
I interrupted you. Go ahead, please.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's been. I learned she helped really kind of help me along the way because she had been published and had some books in Diamond. So yeah, very very helpful with the creation of the character. I was very lucky to work with somebody that helped out like that.
Oh, that's awesome. Catherine's in here saying, "What's up? Good to
Hey,
see."
what's up?
A Batman Ultra comment says, "Don't know if this is off base, but he feels like the Crag's kind of like a mix of inspirations from the Phantom and Swamp Thing, but he
Oh
really
yeah,
likes the design."
Swamp Thing definitely is. There's a little touch of him in there. I know the Phantom kind of had a. Didn't he have like a jungle retreat
Oh
of
yeah,
some sort? I've never gotten
yeah,
read too much of
yes,
the Phantom, but yeah, just kind of the basics. So, but yeah,
yeah.
definitely Swamp Thing in there.
Yeah, the Phantom, basically the origin of the character comes from like a mixture of pirates, like in the Southeast Asian area, and then basically kind of like a jungle protector against the pirates, and of course the Phantom essentially comes into the modern world as well. But yeah, I think like in the tribal languages, he's referred to as the ghost who walks,
So yeah,
sort of thing like that.
it is pretty. It's amazing how, like, I've never read much of the Phantom World any really at all, but as similar as that is, how two people, the Phantom's pretty old. I'm not sure exactly, but decades apart can come up with an idea so similar. That's just crazy the way the mind works and storytelling works. But
No,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, there's always theories that basically we all, dip into the same pool of
yeah,
creativity and inspiration. It's like we take from it, we add to it, sort of thing like that. So, sure, why not? So, and Batman says if really Diggs is going with the forehead and the eyebrows. Yeah, very Kirby thing inspired. I
oh yeah,
agree.
he's like the main inspiration behind almost everything I've done. So yeah, there's probably more Kirby to be found if you look harder. He's like my artistic hero. So
And not to get too terribly off track, but the fact that we're going to have a Fantastic Four movie coming out later this year, and it took us 4 Fantastic Four movies to get to the proper thing facial design. We have the Kirby eyebrows and forehead.
yeah, that like
And
I said, I'm out of touch with the MCU, but I saw that trailer, and that's definitely one I'm going to see for sure. Fantastic Four, definitely.
yeah, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Marvel kid, and so even when it's bad, I'm still there. So I haven't missed anything in the MCU, but I will agree that we are on kind of a down point. But I'm like, okay, well, we were kind of in a rebuilding year after Endgame, and then COVID happened, and then we had a writer strike that happened. So we basically had 2 real-world events that have delayed everything. First time with COVID by about 2 years, and then the writer strike added another 2 years to that. So,
Wow, I didn't realize that. I knew they were, had an impact, but for the writer's strike, especially like 2 years. Wow,
yeah,
I don't know much about like the TV show production process is something I'm wanting to learn more about. Maybe who knows down the line, but yeah, I didn't
yeah,
realize it was 2 years.
it just offset everything because you had some movies that were going to enter into production that couldn't, and then some that were already in production that were going to basically. So it's like in our first wave of some of the Marvel stuff that people become poo-pooing. It's like some of that stuff should have come out later. We should have had some other good stuff come before that.
Mm,
And then, of course, we had the issues with Jonathan Majors. And so we had a big bad we were building towards. Now we're not building. We're cutting him out. We're replacing him with Robert Downey Jr. being Doctor Doom.
yeah.
So there's been so much real world getting into the mix of our fake fun that it needs to stop. So
Yeah, darned real world.
I tell you what, this reality stuff is for the birds. So here's your second issue here for the Crag, because I want to
Yep.
show this one, especially. I want to skip past the I don't want to spoil the cliffhanger in the first issue here, but more importantly, in the second issue, we introduce a new villain that someone
Yeah.
may be on the level of the Crag as in power levels here.
Yep. So that's kind of his code name, or what he's known as, is Luster. That's well, I don't want to spoil too much, but yeah, he's kind of a natural. He's not a golem, obviously, but he's kind of a natural, a natural character. That's, I'm trying to decide how much I want to. But he's from the Earth. He was born from the Earth, from a mountain range to protect it, basically, if that makes sense. It may or may not, but
Okay.
but he's born of the Earth, similar to the Crag. So they're kind of both a little Swamp Thing-ish, kind of same but different. So they're both have you would think that they would get along better, let's put it that way, than they do.
Yeah.
But by the end, and then especially in the third issue that I'm working on, he talks the Crag into some stuff that Crag was I don't know how I want to put it. He basically woke the Crag up, let's put it that way.
Well, that's the thing too, because I don't want to get too terribly, deep into this. The second issue here is why I really just show a good, image of him here, and Batman Ultra also approves of the design of this character.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he basically is very similar to the Crag, but almost kind of like he's kind of the polar opposite sort of thing, like that, where he may be a protector, but he is far more of a malevolent force.
Way more extreme. He's a little. Crag's angry, but Luster's a lot more angry. So there's a lot of anger in these two characters, but.
And it definitely seems like the kind of the way you're pointing in the second issue, like that Luster is definitely trying to manipulate.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it than I was putting it. But yeah, much better. Yeah, he's definitely trying to manipulate him psychologically. So
this is a bad dude. Like I said, I like the way they stored him. Like he was entirely in a liquid, gelatinous form. Like he wasn't a solid form.
Yeah, they had kept heat on him to keep him, because he's made of natural metals. So they had to keep him, like the coils around the box that he's stored in, that keep him at super hot temperatures. So he's always liquid and can't escape. But as you can see, he makes an appearance. So.
Oh, there you go. Batman he's got a very Frieza-esque. Yeah, there you go.
I was Toriyama is another inspiration of mine. So there's probably a lot of Toriyama that bleeds into my stuff too. So.
It's interesting to see where you take him. So nice. So, giving you a little plug here. Do you have a website for the Crag, or is it just your Facebook for Volt Comics?
I do have a website. It's volt-comics.com. It's a little bare bones right now, but I am working on it. So just volt-comics.com. I just broke down and made a TikTok, but if you follow the Facebook or Instagram, it's all kind of the same stuff. I'm working with a company, try to get maybe some videos produced for YouTube and stuff. So I'm working towards, the more marketing, but at the end of the day, I just want to write and tell stories, but you gotta deal with marketers and stuff. But yeah, so volt-comics.com, Volt Comics on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yeah, there's your Facebook handle there for Volt Comics on Facebook there. So.
And I'm working on, it's a story called Project Earth. I won't get too much into it, but it's kind of like superheroes meet alien invasions. And I'm working with a really talented artist named Mike. We're looking forward to that. There's a couple posts about that on the pages, but yeah, so Crag number 3 is in the works, and then this Project Earth, and I've got a little anthology coming up. So
awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay busy.
that's the thing too, is that if you want to, we can talk about this a little bit here. On basically the completely independent level, like you're not, you are Volt Comics basically. So
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I do the social media, the website, and the writing, and just kind of not to say they're not part of the team, but they're commissioned artists. But yeah, I don't want to say it's just me, but yeah, I mean, I'm just a guy in my living room, kind of just trying to make it in
It's
comics.
just you,
So,
yeah. Well, that's the thing is that what's great about independent comics and the way technology has had to, literally, like you can basically have your own comic book imprint that you're running the whole show there,
yeah,
and then you're hiring the artists, that, or eventually you may get on staff artists as well or other
yeah,
writers, depending things like that. So it's like that's the beauty of the way our technology and the way the world works
yeah.
is how
It's
how much
crazy. I
access you
mean, yeah, I mean, it's crazy how you can, how I can do this stuff. For the longest time, I was kind of trying to look for publishers, but to get somebody to take a chance on you, I just kind of, it comes a point where if you're going to be serious, you got to just take it in your own hands and just take the dive and take the risk and do it if you're passionate about it and think you can handle it. So it's a lot of work, but it's, when you create something you're proud of, there's no better feeling for me. So
Absolutely, and that's the thing. Kudos to you for doing the work. I mean, that's the thing is there's so many people who would like, oh, I'd love to write comics, or I'd love to write a book, or I'd love to
oh
make a
yeah,
movie, or what I was like. It's like, and there's so many famous artists, whether they're filmmakers, wherever else, just say, you know, just go do. It's like
yep,
in the way our technology is, pick up a camera, pick up a pen, grab a laptop, just go do.
yeah. I was caught in that for probably 10 years, I want to say. Just excuse me. Just not taking it seriously, wanting to find a publisher, thinking things would just happen to me if I don't, if I just wait around long enough. But that's just not, you just you got to do it. It's just there's no way around it. It's not, I'm not sure exactly how it worked back in the 60s, 50s, but you can't just go walk into a publisher's office really as a writer and get hired. So you kind of got to take the risk financially and with your time and with all your work and just do it. That's really all you can do and hope for the best.
Yep, and see, it take it from Batman Ultra, another DIY writer himself. There, you just got to take that dive.
Yep,
That's a
and
100.
keep going. And sometimes having faith is the hardest part in what you're doing with if you see the lack of sales or engagement on your stuff, if you can keep going, you just keep doing it. And I tell myself, if the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles can start off as kind of a joke, silly comic in the 80s, and now they're, I don't know what they're worth, hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion business now. Anything, you never know what'll happen. Just keep working at it and hope for the best and do the best you can, and maybe you'll get lucky. You never know.
South Park was a video Christmas card,
Oh
and
yeah, I
George
remember that. It was.
and George Clooney saw it,
Yep, and it just
and that was
anything's
it.
possible. So as long as you
Yeah,
can keep going, just keep going.
just keep grinding away, man. So but definitely kudos to you, man, for for getting out there and doing this and putting out a solid piece of work here. So
Well,
definitely
thank you.
appreciate you being on here and
Hey,
sharing
thanks
that with
for having me.
us.
It was fun. I had a great time.
Well, awesome. Of course, want to give plugs again to your social stuff here. So Facebook.com for Volt Comics, of course, you said Instagram, and where else are you on?
I broke down and made a TikTok finally. I didn't want to, but I finally did a TikTok. So just like
Yeah,
not even a week ago, I just made it. So
there you go. So there you go. TikTok and Instagram as well for Volt Comics. And then, of course, their website, volt-comics.com there. So you get
yep.
all your information on the Crag, get your copies, and all that good stuff. Support an independent artist and a good dude like Jeff here. So there you are. So, well, definitely thank you for being on here. We appreciate you being on here and sharing
Thanks
your
for
work
having
with
me.
us.
Anytime.
Absolutely. So this is going to be our show for this week here. We'll be back on next week for the Fanatic Forum here. Of course, hopefully Seth will be back with me. I hope the sniffles are gone for next Friday there. But anyway, so we got a couple of things that works on what we're going to talk about. A couple different ideas we've been floating around here. So we may be doing some movie talk. We may be doing some wrestling talk, or maybe doing some It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia talk, because we both talked about how much that's basically one of our favorite shows. So we may need to do some favorite episodes. I don't know. Anyway, but Jeff, definitely hope to have you back on here again. Hopefully when Crag number 3 comes out, or whatever your next project comes out. So definitely love to have you on here,
great.
man.
I appreciate it.
Thank you guys, and thank you all for watching the Fanatic Forum here. Definitely like and share, pass it on to all your friends and family, because of course the Fanatic Forum is the place for geeks. It is our nice commune away from the wiles of the world here. So we're going to leave you with our message here from our friends at Comic Books for Kids. We will see you guys next time. So take care.
My name is Mark Weiss, and I am the founder and president of an organization called Comic Books for Kids. 6 years ago this month, we embarked on a journey of passion and heart. Our goal was to make a difference for children in hospitals and cancer centers. Little could we have ever imagined the response we have now. Starting with just hopes and dreams, we had no money for our mission. We had no product to give to the hospitals, and we had only called a couple hospitals and asked them, if we were to provide you with comic books, would you be interested? And they said yes. So we embarked on a one-year journey to make a difference for these kids. We realized that even though we can't take away the reason these children are in hospitals, we can perhaps, while they are there, let them fly like a superhero, be princes and princesses, and embark on a mystical and magical journey to take them away from where they are in that hospital bed. Today, and thanks to your support, we are thrilled to say that we are now the largest charity in the U.S., supporting well over 200 hospitals in all 50 states for not only comic books, but for other pop culture items like Funko Pops, action figures, coloring books, Spanish bilingual items, backpacks, and more. When we received materials that were inappropriate for the young ones, we started a sister charity called Comic Book for Troops, and overnight, we became the largest charity in the U.S. for these same items to all branches of the military. We want to thank our friends for providing us their support and for allowing us the means to make so many happy with their gracious give to us.